There we go. Okay, so does everybody have their piece? I hope. I'm just gonna, for convenience sake, cut mine, but I think you guys are yours are already cut, right? Okay. So you have an actual photograph one and a posterized one. You really can use either one, but the posterized one tends to be better for just sketching out the shapes. So what you want to do is you want to take your piece, okay, and you need to take your pencil and rub graphite on the back, right? Cool. And just, you can hold it up to the light I'm just holding it up towards the window here and looking at it to make sure I can see that I got the graphite. Just put it a little bit beyond.
I did cut this.
Okay, so do not put this in, this is important, ready? Do not put this in the middle, right? You want to put it off to the side, okay? Just so you have more stuff over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put my tape. See, I'm sticking it on the back here so the sticky side's up, right? And I'm going to take my piece and I'm just going to stick it on there. Cool? So that I can flip it back like this. Cool. Got it? So it's taped like this here, and I flip it back. And the first thing you want to do is go ahead and take your pencil and just trace, whoops. Can you guys see this? I'm going to go a little closer. Trace. You don't have to push down too hard, because remember, if you push down too hard, you're actually going to like.
Well, how do we do this again?
Okay, ready? Hold on. Can you see what I'm doing right now? I'll show you the steps before it that you missed. So I just traced the box here. Look, Jackson. Look, can you look up at the screen? Can you see? You see how you can see the pencil lines that got transferred?
Yeah.
So I have the graphite on the back here. I just taped it. I put the tape on the back here like this so I can flip it back and put it back down in the same spot.
Okay, so how do I like tape it on? Should I cut the bottom off?
You're doing great. This is the one that you're gonna rub on there? Yeah, just make it easier for yourself. I see here. You might want to go like this.
I didn't put the tape on this one.
Yeah, yeah, put the tape on. That works, right? We'll get enough to grab it. All right. Okay, so you should at least have your box. And then the first things that I would look for is look at any of the black shapes or really, really dark shapes, okay? So, and you want to trace those because those are the areas you're not going to scratch away. So remember, these were like when we did the sphere, these were what we called number 4, right? So I'm just going through here. You do not, so there's all these little tiny little shapes. You do not need to like trace over every little shape. But you want to get, so kind of like in here, see how there's like gray? I don't know if you guys can see this here. I definitely wanted to trace around this white shape here. I definitely trace around all these black shapes here. And then this whole area here, this is white, and then I just sort of put a line through here and here because there's like gray areas. And then this here, I might just sort of make a sort of dashed line there to show that this goes from white and it transitioned into this speckly gray area. Cool, and this I sort of trace with the sharp edge because it's a nice sharp edge. Here I might kind of do little dashed lines there. If you can see that well. See how I did like dashed lines there and dashed lines there. This sort of shape up here, right? I definitely want to know where all these, where these black areas are, because that's where I do not want to scratch away much, if any at all. Okay, so I'm getting like the major shapes there. And then in here, it's not solid black, but I would kind of notice I marked off where those are. Sorry if you guys can't see that well. Because this is going to be black there, or close to black. I'm going to get this sort of zone here. So you're basically just, there are these little like whisker shapes here. I can kind of put those in there, but I don't want to get into like drawing those. So I'm just going around this area here because it's dark. But I don't necessarily want it. That's probably enough for me to be able to kind of see the major shapes. You don't need to draw too much on here because you don't want to have all this like pencil mark all over it. You're going to scratch it away. You got this, Freya? What are you doing? Okay.
Yeah.
So, and what'll happen is you can leave this posterized one here. So if you want to flip it back, right, and be able to kind of get the major positionings. But what you're going to be able to do is look at this here as you try to scratch this away to make it look like that, right? And when you do that, can you see on this one, the posterized one, the white areas are solid white, the blacks are solid black, and then there's like middle grays, right? Two middle, a light gray and a dark gray. And in here, you can kind of see there's the light area, but it's not this one big solid cleared away white area, right? So you can kind of see that you'll have an opportunity to kind of scratch it down until it gets pretty light, okay? But what's helpful here is that I kind of know the zone, right? So right here, I want to make sure you can see this in the glare. Let's see how this is lighter here. This part right in here, this is lighter. And I can see in my sketch here, I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera. I sort of sketched off where that is so I know, I put little marks right in there so I can kind of see where that is. Okay, cool. So you would want to pick, what I usually do is find the areas that are solid black and I try to scratch away the stuff around it, right? So I'd start with, you know, what I'm scratching right here. I only want to scratch away a little bit, right? Because it's gray. Oops, sorry, you can't see that. So around this black here, I want to scratch this away just a tiny bit and a little less because these are gray up against here. Here I can scratch away a little more, right? I'll scratch away a little less and I can do a little more. And then this I can clear almost completely. Okay, I want to make sure I leave this here and scratch away that. So I'm scratching away everything that's on any side around any of these solid black areas. And I'll do the same thing over here. Like on this side, I'll scratch away more. And on this side, I'll scratch away less. Cool. So, and if you guys are, and if you want to, you have a little space on the side here if you want to like warm up, right? So I'm not even starting yet. I'm just sort of like getting the feel again. And actually, my tip feels bent. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at this. I need to move this out of the way so I can see. So I might, and remember how we turned our pieces? It's really kind of nice. You don't have to keep this in the orientation that you're looking at it at. So I might want to scratch around this sort of dark shape right there. I know I want to keep, can you see this? So this is dark, I want to keep this dark. So I'm gonna just lightly scratch, and remember I want to scratch light and I can always build it up a little more. All right. And I can see I have a little extra dark there. And then this is going to be the lightest part. So, and you can play around with different types of marks, but this is the one that I'm gonna, this is the area that I want to clear away quite a bit. And I can decide how I want to do it. I could do all hatched lines in the same direction. I could do little marks. I could even, if I wanted to, take out my, turning this on the side a little bit more so I can scratch away a little more. See how it's getting brighter? So I'm kind of looking, and I don't want this to get too bright. I'm going light here. And I'm going around this, so I'm leaving that edge, right? But I'm not tracing it out. If I scratch away some of this in here, this I might do little like almost stipply marks. Remember, I'm not like tracing around this. I'm gonna and I notice it's the brightest down here, so I don't want to scratch away too much. And what I'm going to do is do a comparison where, see how bright I've already made this? I'm looking at that. When I look at the photograph, this and this are really bright, and maybe just a little bit of this, but this is just 1 degree less bright than that, right? So as I sort of clear this out, and I'm leaving that dark shape here, this is really bright. This is bright like that one. That I can kind of clear away. As this shape. And I'm noticing that it goes out past that one. And it really makes a clear, defined shape there. All right, I'm going to stop recording because this is going to be so boring. Watch me do this. But so I have this brightness. I can let this get bright. This whole area over here, I want to make sure I leave this darkness here. And I want to make sure I leave this here. So remember how we didn't like trace those lines? And this is where it's going to get cut off, right? So you can kind of see I'm building this up. It gets a little darker. So hopefully you can kind of see that. And I think I would take off some more here. Or maybe get this shape in a little more. Cool. So it doesn't look, when you look up close, it doesn't look really impressive. But when you like zoom back a little bit, you can start to see how the values start to come together. Cool? Hopefully. Yes, no, maybe so.